Did you know, according to YouTube, only 17% of channels get monetized? I want to be one of them. And if that's your goal, I want you to be one of them too. Welcome to week 2 of my YouTube growth challenge. I'm working to get monetized by August 12th of this year, and I'm giving myself weekly assignments to work on to hopefully get better at this whole YouTube thing. You might have a different growth goal on YouTube, but hopefully this series will be encouraging to you and you'll want to join in and set your own goals. Hi, I'm Tina. I don't think I even introduced myself in my intro video. If you haven't seen that yet and you want to start at the beginning, go there first and then come back to this video. I'm going public with this challenge because I want to give myself accountability. I'm hoping to find a community of other 50-something creators who are wanting to grow their channel, and I'm hoping to encourage others to join in as well. Feel free to join in on the weekly assignments and then update in the comments how it's going for you, lessons you've learned, things you've discovered, eureka moments, whatever, that kind of stuff, and then also how your growth is going week to week. So for week 1, my assignments were to go back to the beginning and look at my why, look at my audience, and look at my goals for my channel. So my why started with a set of belief statements, and I'm going to read those to you now because they do kind of form the foundation for why this channel even exists. And those belief statements are: I believe women over 50 are not invisible. I believe women over 50 have valuable experiences to share. I believe women over 50 have wisdom to share. I believe women over 50 are not finished living. I believe women over 50 can set new goals and dream new dreams. And finally, I believe women over 50 are brave, strong, powerful, creative, confident, and beautiful, with or without makeup. And then I realized that my why statements could be divided into personal whys, in other words, what I want to get out of it, and then other focused why, what I hope to give to others. So on a personal side, this channel came out during a time of transition. I was coming out of the really intense phase of motherhood when you are needed all the time to a time when there's not quite so many needs and demands on your time. I was back in the workforce. In November of 2019, I took my first out-of-the-home paid position since I became a stay-at-home mom. Granted, the job is part-time. I still have it today. And in the intervening years, I had some work-from-home opportunities as well. But this was the first go-to-a-job every day kind of thing I've had in a really long time. And because I was no longer in that needed all the time intense phase of motherhood, which, by the way, I loved every second of, I found that I had time to dream again and to feed my creative side. Also, I found that this was a way to learn new things, have a little fun, and meet some new people. My why for others was a desire to share things that I had learned about skincare and makeup for women over 50. I also had a desire to help women who were like me in this transition time between raising kids and an empty nest. And I wanted to help them find new purpose, find their confidence and their power in this phase of life. I think by having creators over 50, over 60, over 70 on this platform, we bring an awareness and an acceptance to aging. And I am finding that almost 60 is not anything like I imagined it was when I was 20 or 30 or even 40. And I want to embrace these years and help others to do the same. So I've decided that the less footage of me in my kitchen there is in this video, the better off it's going to be. And so I am at yet another location. The second assignment I had this week was to revisit my audience. Who am I making videos for? And do I still want to make videos for that audience? Or do I want to change my audience? Maybe expand it? One thing I've discovered in watching YouTube videos is that the reach that your videos can have is limited by the size of the audience. If you are being very specific with the audience that you're trying to reach, then there is a finite number of people that you can potentially reach. But if you expand that pool of people, then you have a greater potential for your video to blow up and get a lot of views. The other idea that has resonated with me came from Jillian Perkins. If I can find the video that I watched about this, I will link it below. Otherwise, I'll just link her channel. But she was talking about niche in terms of niching to an audience and not to a topic. And the idea there is that people have varied interests. And it is quite likely that the people who are watching your video may have similar interests. And so you can have different topics within your niche as long as those topics are all things that will be interesting to that wider audience that you're trying to reach. I recently just watched a Nate Black video, and his suggestion was no more than 3 topics. So, everybody kind of has their own idea on this, and it's something that I want to explore and play with a little bit. So who was my audience, and do I still want that to be my audience? When I first started, my intent was to direct my content at women like me, because that's the audience I know best. We are empty nesters or near empty nesters. We spent a lot of years being moms. We're going through a midlife transition. But I've realized in looking at this that not just moms go through a midlife transition. And so perhaps I could broaden that audience by not focusing so much on the mom aspect of it, but on the midlife aspect of it. So while in general my audience is still the same, women over 50, and my why kind of leads into that a lot, I do want to broaden that audience. And so I will be looking at ways of making content to make that happen. Last week I mentioned that I was not walking while I was filming because I didn't have a gimbal and it was really hot. Well, I still don't have a gimbal and it's still really hot, but I'm going to try this for a small portion of the video because I want to try using the image stabilization feature in my editing software and see how it works. I don't want to do a lot of this video walking because if it doesn't work, I don't want to make y'all seasick, but hopefully it will. I already filmed a little bit of this inside in my kitchen and I felt like it was a little stiff and I felt like it was getting a little teachery. So I figured it was time to get outside. And I may refilm some of that or I may just keep it because we're going for progress, not perfection. And I don't want to let the pursuit of perfect get in the way of me getting this video done and getting it up. Okay, so the third assignment I had last week was to set some goals. And obviously my specific short-term goal is monetization by August 12th. But I was really referring more to some general and longer-term goals. And one of those is to create a community that is encouraging, positive, and uplifting. And I am well on my way to that. I have an amazing community of very positive, encouraging people, and I love them very much. I love the conversations we have. I love their humor. And I love how supportive they are. It has suddenly gotten very windy. I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but we'll keep trying. So I want to grow that community and maintain the positive vibe that we already have. I want to branch out into more than makeup content. And these videos are kind of a start to that, but I don't really want to be a grow your YouTube channel. That's not to say I might not at some point, give some tips about what worked for me or that kind of thing. But in general, I want to speak to more topics that interest the audience that I talked about above, as well as myself. And in order to get monetized, I need more watch time. And so my goal is to increase not only watch time per video, but also session time, creating content that encourages people to watch more than one of my videos at a time. Because a goal without a plan is just a wish, I created an action plan in order to advance my progress towards these goals. The first one is to go back to creating 2 videos per week. One of them will be this YouTube growth update, as long as the challenge is going on, and then the other will be makeup and beauty related, or I may attempt to branch out into one of those other areas I talked about. I am going to plan my content through July 31st, writing down on a calendar what's getting uploaded on each day. I am also going to be planning filming and editing days, not just flying by the seat of my pants, because when I do that, all of a sudden I find myself at the end of the week and I don't have any content. So I already have written down the videos that I want to create between now and the end of July. I just need to get them on a calendar and schedule when they're going to be filmed and when they're going to be edited. And ideally, I want to get at least 1 week, 2 would be better, of having my content complete and already scheduled. So I want to do some batch filming and then work on getting faster at editing so that I can get those videos done and scheduled. And then I'm not just feeling like I'm always playing catch up. All right, I think I'm going to find a pavilion and sit down because it's getting hot. More squirrel friends. Hey guys. Aren't you cute? Go play with your friend. There they go. Okay, so while I get situated in my new location, I'm going to let Office Tina take it away with some analytics for the week. Last week I had 1,174 subscribers. This week I have 1,176. Moving on, I show 737 views. This is up 21% from last week. 57.5 watch hours, up 5% from last week. And somehow my subscribers say +3, even though the net change was only 2. Not sure how that works. Now, if you look at this view number here, keep in mind that 737. When I change to the content tab, for some reason the views for the same time period show 565. I don't know what's up with that. I'm just assuming that these pages have a little bit of a lag or something. But I had 21,000 impressions, which was 164% more than last week. I did have 2 videos instead of 1, but even with that, it is more than double. So YouTube was sending my videos to more people that it thought would appreciate them. As you might expect, with the impressions going up a lot and the views not going up the same amount, the click-through rate did go down. It was 1.7% this week, and last week it was 3.5%. Moving over to the Earn tab, this will show you your progress towards monetization. And scrolling down, I do have the 1,000 subscribers required. My watch time hours are 3,312 on this page. And I realized I didn't tell you last week what my watch hours were. It was 3,303. So I did gain a net of 9 watch hours. But because my channel's been around longer than a year, I only receive the net amount of the watch hours gained today versus the watch hours lost a year ago today. So even though I showed that I had 57.5 watch hours added, I obviously lost quite a few watch hours on the other end. As you can see, there was some progress. It wasn't anything meteoric or spectacular, but progress is progress. So I'm very happy with my analytics for the week, and I'm looking forward to seeing them go up again next week. So what are our assignments for next week? Well, because I already have my 1,000 subscribers needed for monetization, my most pressing issue right now is watch time. And in order to get out of the watch time purgatory that I talked about last time, where I'm gaining watch time about as fast as I'm losing it, I need to do things to keep people watching longer. And so I went through my notes with that in mind, pulling out specifically retention advice. And there is so much more to this than what I'm going to go into. Maybe in a future week, I can get a little deeper into synthesizing some of that advice. But for now, we're just going to stay kind of surface shallow, and then maybe we can talk about it more in comments and stuff. The biggest takeaway I came up with as I was going through all of that information is that I need better planning. And I've already talked about that a little bit with the planning my content out. You guys, I'm still struggling with my tripod. The wind is trying to knock it over. I think I might need more than the 5 Below tripod because this one's not very sturdy. Anyway, while at this point I maybe can sit down and film a video without much prep time, that doesn't mean that I should. And so my number 1 assignment is video planning. Oh. I'm on the struggle bus, you guys. Okay, so my number 1 focus this week is going to be video planning. And I divided that out into a couple of sections. And the first section is the first 30 seconds. When YouTube instituted the preview function, so like when you're scrolling on your phone or even on your desktop and the video will start to autoplay, the first 8 seconds of the video became super important because people will stop, often without the volume on, and read the subscript that comes up to decide if they want to watch that video or not. I think actually, and this may be going against all of the advice that you've heard, those first 8 seconds might be more important than your thumbnail. Because if you stop scrolling, the thumbnail goes away and you see that. So I'm not saying the thumbnail's not important, but those first 8 seconds are also important. I'm currently listening to an audiobook by Blake Snyder called Save the Cat. It is a book about storytelling, specifically screenplay writing. And in the opening chapters, he talks about the concept of a log line. And the log line tells the who, the what, and the where in one sentence. It distills an entire movie script down to one sentence. And one of the examples he gave was a movie called Four Christmases. And the log line was something like, and I'm probably not going to get it exactly right, but it was a couple whose parents have divorced and remarried have to visit all four sets of parents on one Christmas day. So you know the who, and you know the what, and you know the setting in that one sentence. And so I'm not sure how well screenplay writing translates to YouTube video scripting, but I'm really going to try and see if I can distill the focus of my videos down to one sentence. You may or may not have noticed that I have a tendency to ramble, and so I really want to tighten up and be more concise without losing personality and flow and that kind of thing. I don't want it to just be bullet, 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 but I also don't want to go off on tangents that nobody asked for. Credit for that goes to Aaron Taylor, by the way. And so opening a video with, hi, my name is, welcome to my channel, here I do this and this and this, is not a great use of those 8 seconds because it doesn't give your viewer a reason to click. And so I want to see if thinking about what's it about in that short amount of time helps with click-through, but then delivering on that what's about helps with retention. So the hook gives people a reason to stay for more. Moving on, I want to also then plan the meat of the video. And I don't do well fully scripting a video because then I want to read it word for word from the script, and I never can, and so I stumble over my words and I fumble and it comes off as unnatural. And I kind of think if you look at the beginning of this video where I was in my kitchen, it was more like that, and now I'm kind of just highlighting a couple of words and then letting myself talk, and I feel like that is a better way for me to create content. But at least having bullet points will keep me on topic and keep me from rambling into areas that I don't need to ramble into. I also want to plan my B-roll ahead of time. I knew when I came to the park today that I wanted to film some squirrels. If I hadn't planned that ahead of time, then when I saw the squirrels, I might not have been ready for it or not even thought to film them, because who doesn't like watching squirrels scamper? Wow, words are hard. Squirrels scamper. There we go. And, you know, that might provide a little bit of visual relief. And planning B-roll ahead of time for makeup videos is really important because I need to know when those shots are going to come in, or if I'm going to be doing audio under like makeup application, that sort of thing, because otherwise I continue to talk while I'm putting on my makeup and then I don't have a place to put the product information audio. So planning B-roll ahead of time. I also want to plan my shots. Like with this video, I scripted it out and then I knew I wanted 3 locations: my kitchen, walking, and then sitting at a park. And then I figured out what parts of the video I wanted to do each thing so that I wouldn't have to film the whole video in 3 places. Whoa! Almost lost you again. So I wouldn't have to film the video in 3 locations completely and then pick what I wanted. I mean, I guess that's an option too, to film the whole thing and then pick the best of it, but that seems like a lot of work and a lot of time. And multiple location filming takes a lot of time anyway. Finally, we come to the ending, and I need to learn to ditch the Midwest goodbye. If you're not from the Midwest, you don't know what this is, but this is where you say goodbye to your company, and then you all stand by the door for about 15 minutes because you thought of a few more things you wanted to talk about, or you just weren't ready to say goodbye. And then you go outside and you stand on the driveway for another 10 minutes or so. And then they get in the car and you lean on the window for a little bit, maybe, you know, a few more minutes, and then you finally say goodbye and they leave. But in a video, if you signal the end of the video, your viewers bounce. They're gone. And if you look at your retention graph from your videos, and it usually starts out pretty high, and then people will bounce right away because, oh, this isn't what I want to watch. And then, you kind of get a graph that does this, and then you say, so that's what I had to talk about today. And you might talk for another 2 or 3 minutes, but they're gone. And there's this huge drop off at the end. YouTube doesn't like that. And if they do that, they don't see your end screens. So my goal is to get out fast. We'll see how I do because I'm really bad at that. And then the final thing I want to plan is the ending, because I want to make sure I know ahead of time what video I'm going to point my audience to that's related to what they just watched. Because if they got to the end of the video, they enjoyed it, and they might enjoy something that's similar to it or related to it. And so I want to make sure I know what videos I'm going to point them to before I get to the end of the video so that it's not just an afterthought. And so all of that was related to the first assignment of planning, and the second assignment this week is to reorganize my playlists. I have kind of a hodgepodge of playlists, and I have a lot of them, and some of them made sense when I first started, or they made sense with the videos I had, but then another video didn't quite fit in that, so I made a new playlist, and then I thought, oh gosh, it would be really good. Now I have videos that could go in this playlist. It's just kind of a mess. And so I want playlists that are meaningful so that somebody could say, oh, I want to watch all of her videos about this, get into the playlist, and get exactly what they came for. On that note, make sure if you haven't watched it, you check out the first week's video for this challenge. Join me for next week. Hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.